like, hey everyone, I don't look as crazy as I thought I was. I kind of feel crazy because eh, I do need to go to the barber shop eventually. That'll be my birthday present to myself. Going to the barber shop. Um, I know I finally got my hair washed and conditioned and combed out, and Lord, I was doing I think I was doing more shedding than my little baby Greta because it had been so long since I combed my hair out. But I do need to go to the barber shop and get myself all freshened up. um I don't know if I'm going to do dreads again because even though I love doing dreads, it's a it's a process. It's a process. It's a journey. I loved my dreads, but it is a journey. The reason why I did cut off my dreads is during that stay in the 3 day stay, was it 2 days? However many days stay at the MUSC to do observation, um, with them putting the sticky nodes on my hair back when I did have dreads. It was the stickiness. No matter what all suggestions I tried with the epilepsy support group of trying to get that stickiness out, it was not working at all. And I was like, I cut my dreads off. It had been, I don't know how many years it had been when I was growing my dreads. I think it had to have been 2 years. But I still, you know what? I still have my dreads that I saved. I might get rid of those. Some things, we talked about that in grief group, support group sometimes. Some things you just have to get rid of and move on from. Some things, you're not the same as you were in the past. Um, and that life of me, the dreaded me, uh, the Pauline, the P me with the dreads, the locked me with the dreads, I am definitely not that same person as I am today. So maybe I will go ahead and get rid of the dreads that I saved. But anyway, I just hopped on. It has been a minute since I've hopped on and have done a live video to do update because honestly, um I have not felt in the mood to um talk to people live because this recovery process, I have told my counselor that it has been uh it's a process. It's a journey in itself, not only physically, but mentally as well, emotionally as well. And not only because of having to reach out for help for some of the smaller tasks, which is something in itself. Um, it's even more of that new norm, even though it might be a temporary new norm compared to what the new norm was for the epilepsy and the seizures were for the new norm. Um, it is a new norm, however long that new norm is. But the emotional journey is the tiredness and fatigueness. And honestly, one of the things, there are support groups for honestly, y'all, there are support groups for everything. The internet, it's great. It's great. Um, and Google, it's great too, because some nights I was looking up, am I supposed to feel this tired? I mean, seriously, I was feeling tired, like, of course, there's the restless nights when you have to, it's recommended you sleep on your back, and I'm a side sleeper. I won't get into the medical details about why that is. Of course, there was the restless nights of that, and that really didn't feel into the uh feed into the fatigueness, but it was just that tiredness. And that, of course, with the there's a difference between fatigue and tired. Like tired, well, there's a difference between fatigue and tired. I'll just put it that way. And then when I started doing whole sessions with my physical therapist, that definitely added on the tiredness. And with my mental health therapist, my counselor, I love her to death. She's younger than me. I can tell she's younger than me. Um, anyway, she's younger than me, but she does have that wisdom, which is great in a counselor. And this last session, like I said, when I put it in my post, I, at the end of that session, she dug into me some of the things that I have been holding on to, that I have been thinking about, but I haven't released to anybody. Um, I do trust her. So I released to her. And one of the things that I told to my the grief group, that support group that I go to, is that one thing I have learned along the way, one of the things that build have that contributed to my and to the anxiety and the depression that uh led me in that deep hole years ago, was me holding on to it and not releasing it to anybody. But at the end of the session, counseling session, I just let out that big uh I can't re construct it exactly, but it was just like oh, it was deeper than that. It was like whew. And she was just like, my, that was a big sigh. And it was just like, yeah, it was like a workout. It was like a mental workout in a good way, but in a tiring way. I was wiped out. And I was telling the grief support group yesterday, because one of the gentlemen had asked, was it like a breathing session, like, because there are some breathing therapies, breathing techniques in counseling and therapy. And I was telling him, well, kind of like in the physical therapy exercises, in almost every exercise class that I go to, one of the things, at least in the aqua aerobics class that I go to, one of the things that the instructor always tells you is to, or the trainer in the case of the physical therapy, is telling you to remember to breathe. You know, when you're doing your count, if you have to count out loud, remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. Remember to breathe. And that just kind of hit home yesterday when whenever that was, um, when I had that counseling session, just remembering to breathe. And it must have been I was holding my breath for far, far too long. And yeah, so that's that. But just bringing home some of the things I have learned along the way is putting myself first. Like I said, with the counseling, and I won't go too deep into personal, but one of the things I've learned with helping myself learn how to breathe is acknowledging that when I do need that space for myself, that this is a healing process, that I have had um two surgeries within months of each other, which have been beneficial, but I am still healing. again, physically and mentally, I am healing. And I don't always feel like the same person who's out. I'm not the same person who's out and about and love uh, going out every single time. I just need to stay to myself. Sometimes I don't feel like talking. Oftentimes I don't feel like talking or connecting with people. Sometimes I just want to just stay with my cat Greta and just, well, just breathe. Just heal. Just focus on healing and breathing. And so the other day I kind of one of the things is that I realized that I do have to make that known to my friends who sometimes they don't, if they don't know, they don't know, who often reach out to me and see me as that old person who's the chatty, the one who's always out and about and chatty and joyous and all that stuff. And it's like I'm needing healing. I'm healing mentally, physically, I'm healing, and just making that known, you know. So, this has been, in a way, I've told the grief support group, and I don't know if I've mentioned it on here. I may have, I don't know. I may have mentioned it in the Speak Up Writers group, maybe. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on any live post here, but of course, and those of you who are in the mental health field knows that grief, when a lot of people think of grief, they may think of grief connected to death, but grief is connected with can be connected to any type of loss, loss that um you care about, and part of you that was connected to you that you've lost. And for me, I've lost some things that were part of my identity, many things that were part of my identity. My mom, my grandma, of course, along the ways. Um, well, my financial being, I had mentioned that in my previous post that, I was financially well off and then things happened. I had that conversation with the person who reached out to me, needing that assistance for his help regarding being on the verge of eviction. How he never imagined himself being in this situation, and my heart totally went out to him because, in a lot of people's situations, challenges, no matter what they are, they, of course, they don't foresee themselves being in the situations that they end up at. I know some of the conversations that I've had, y'all know I talk to everybody. I'm a conversationalist. Now that part of me, that identity of me, I don't think I'll ever lose. When I was riding my ride, and just listening and telling my story, listening to people's stories, it's like, you don't imagine yourself being in a homeless shelter, being on the streets. You were another person at another time, being well off financially, you know, in another space time continuum, and then life happens, you know. But but that's my update, that I'm here, I'm trucking along, mentally, physically, spiritually, I'm trucking along. I'm here. And that's that. So, peace out, y'all. Love y'all.